There's some conversations that you would just rather skip. Hello, my name is Michael Stack, and I'm the CEO of AMAX. And today I want to talk about this concept of having conversations, whether it's in our personal lives or our professional lives. Some conversations that we just don't like. It's like you're like, oh, that's going to be a difficult conversation. You know what? I would rather just take a pass on that one and kind of go about my merry way. In workers' compensation, there are two specific times that I want to talk to you about when employers need to be talking with their employees about workers' comp. So, two specific times employers need to be talking with their employees about workers' compensation. Number one, there are oftentimes many employers that say, don't tell my employees that we even have workers' comp. Don't tell them. Just shh, be quiet. Don't tell them about it. Because if they know that we have workers' comp insurance, all they're going to do, every single one of them, we've got 100 employees. I expect 98 of them are going to file workers' comp claim like tomorrow if we even tell them that we have workers' comp at all. So shh, don't tell them about it. Don't tell them that we have work comp insurance. That's just ridiculous. It's a ridiculous idea that every employer is required to have it for a reason. And the more that you the more you inform your employers, the more you're establishing that level of trust. The more you're engaging them actually as a vital part of that organization rather than just a robot that could be replaced. And we know there's just so many layers of why that's important to engage your employees. So number one, tell them you got work comp. We talk about our employee brochure. I talk about our employee brochure often, often because it is so valuable. Talk to them at the time, basically of hire or just a general meeting. Just tell them about your work comp program. Tell them what you got going on. Lay those expectations. Time number two is at the time of injury. At the time of injury. So now they've just been injured. As we talk about our employee brochure, we talk about telling them about expectations. This is what you could expect from us. This is what we expect from you. This is how this whole thing's going to work. This is how you're going to get your meds. This is how you're going to get your medical treatment. You don't have to pay your deductible, etc., etc. How this whole thing is going to work. You're answering some very simple questions about this process that's seemingly very complicated, and people have a lot of preconceived notions about. Because one, if you didn't even tell them about it, you had in the first place, how's their level of trust now for you? That you didn't even tell them you had work comp at all, and now they're injured, and they're like, oh, what am I going to do? You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to protect my back, and I'm going to hire an attorney. You're just setting yourself up for challenges right out of the gate. So tell them at the hire time. Tell them generally if you haven't, after they've been hired, you haven't told them specifically about it. Now tell them at the time of injury, go through that employee brochure. There are so many conversations that we just rather skip. We'd rather be like, oh, you know what? I don't want to deal with this. We got a lot. We're working on these widgets. Our production demands are way up. Our staffing's way down. We got a lot of stuff going on. We got a lot of time. Blah, 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 blah. Have the conversation. It's going to set yourself up well. Here's my lesson. Here's my lesson for today. It's better to have the conversation. It's better to have the conversation. It's better to have the conversation. It is better to have the conversation. Specifically in work comp, at the time of hire, lay out the expectations before they're injured. Go over it again after they're injured. There are some conversations, personally, professionally, with our spouses, with our siblings, with our business colleagues, with any professional environment. There are plenty of conversations that we would just rather skip. The takeaway, though, is it's better to have the conversation. Get on the same page, work through whatever challenge you're working through in the context of workers' compensation. In terms of injury management, it will set you up for success.